Let's talk about the paradoxical nature of practicing combat to achieve peace in life. Why learn how to fight and study confrontation if peace is our goal? There are many factors that affect our peace, externally and internally. The external ones are the problems and emergencies life presents. How badly these problems disturb your peace depends on your skill level when dealing with them. The internal factors could be our fears, our insecurities, our ego, our anger. Sometimes these are too loud for the mind to be peaceful. Let's talk about the external problems and the importance of skill first. Now imagine 3 people on a boat just off the coast, and the boat is sinking. Now the first guy doesn't know how to swim. Second guy can swim. Third guy, Olympic swimmer. Even though the situation is exactly the same for all 3, the amount of panic it causes to each of them is very different. The problem is the same, but the perspective of each person is different. The guy who cannot swim is looking at the problem from down below, buried under it. He's having a near-death experience. He's shouting, he's cursing, asking the others for help. The guy who can swim is elevated to the level of the problem because of his skill. Now, he sees it as a challenge he can survive. Now the third guy, he's looking at this from way above. He's not even registering this as a real problem. To him, it's just slightly annoying. He's thinking, my clothes are going to get wet, that's it. He might even save the first guy and be on the local news, like hero saves a man from drowning. So the severity of any external problem and how much it disturbs your peace is directly proportionate to your skill level in solving that problem. Hoping you are not confronted by problems and avoiding all difficulties by default isn't living life in peace. Knowing that when you are confronted, you will be okay is. Even our peace of mind has to be earned through training. By the way, the most common advice for a peaceful life is meditation. And meditation is a great tool. I mean, we do it in every class. But meditation is a before or after tool, not a during one. If you're having a confrontation and if someone is punching you in the face repeatedly, meditating through that will not bring you peace. Right? Let's give a confrontation scenario as an example. Some random unskilled guy is trying to bully you or is mistreating you. He's threatening, shouting, insulting. He breaches your personal space, grabs you, and he starts punching you. If we use the same skill levels from the first example, like the first guy, never set foot in a dojo in his life, never shown an interest in the subject of self-protection. He thinks, we live in a modern world. It's illegal for someone to attack me. And I'm a polite person. I never upset anyone, so I don't need to learn self-defense. Good luck to the first guy. He's really going to need it. Second guy, he's trained. Maybe he did some martial arts, some practical martial arts, and studied self-defense for a couple of years. He has an understanding of how it works. Now, third guy, let's say professional fighter or highly skilled serious student of martial arts, truly understands striking, grappling, what's real, what's art, maybe a close quarters combat instructor or a self-defense instructor, someone who practices pressure testing all the time. What could be life-threatening for the first guy could be just an interesting little story for the third guy. I mean, he could be in the dojo the next day telling everyone and still in one piece laughing about it. The skill level elevating your perspective in a confrontation and naturally reducing your fear is the first part. Let's talk about the internal problems that stand on the way of peace, because dealing with an external problem like an aggressive person is one thing. Dealing with an internal problem like your ego, your temper, your insecurity is another. And let's not forget, sometimes you are fighting 2 battles at the same time, both with the external and the internal problem. For example, the aggressive guy in front of you is shouting at you saying, I'm going to smash your face in. And simultaneously, the voice inside you is also shouting at you, how dare he speaks to you like that? Are you going to let this guy walk all over you? This voice, right? I hate this voice. I mean, some people suffer from this more than others, but it's loud for most people. And in my opinion, this voice of your ego or insecurity might be even more dangerous than the other person's voice because it fuels the verbal to physical escalation. Now, most physical violence is avoidable as long as you don't lose to these voices. So how do you get rid of these internal enemies that are hurting you? It's a big question. In my opinion, this is the harder thing to achieve compared to the physical teachings of martial art. I guess it happens naturally through the training process. Like when you are training as a martial artist, you always meet people who are better than you. Your ego is trained along with your body. You get hit, you get tapped out. You learn a lot about yourself. Training pushes your weaknesses to the surface, your temper, your impatience, your attitude. You get the chance to embrace the real you and then start working on it. Understanding who you really are is a very important part of the training. Also, hopefully, you get to a saturation point where you no longer have anything to prove to anyone. Now, this helps with the maturity, much needed, so that your emotions don't take over. If knocking out or choking out one more person doesn't seem like a win anymore, then you can be calmer. When somebody is being aggressive towards you, if you have the skill to handle the situation physically, if your fear is not as loud because of this skill, if you have nothing to prove because you had your share of many physical battles already, and if your ego is a little bit more quiet because you not engaging physically is seen as your benevolence rather than your fear, both by you and others, then you can find it easier to de-escalate, and then you can go home and meditate to clear the adverse effects of this experience from your mind. I guess the goal is to one day get to the level where a combination of skill, maturity, and self-knowledge keeps us in control when tested, so we can live a peaceful life, safe from external and internal problems. I hope this helps, and if you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and click the bell so you can see the new videos as they come out. Thank you.